This presentation will discuss the user requirements analysis we carried out. The reason for carrying out this exercise is to ensure we satisfy user needs and requirements for our chosen website. During this presentation, we will discuss our chosen demographic, the context of use, our requirements gathering exercise and findings, and our usability considerations and expected problems. This section will discuss our chosen demographic. Our research called for examining a demographic which regularly uses Loop. The demographic chosen is students and lecturers of DCU. The reason we have chosen this demographic is because Loop is used by all students and lecturers. We also have a good understanding of the demographic due to being students ourselves and our use of Loop on a daily basis. This was the driving factor in choosing Loop, as being part of this demographic ourselves allowed us to understand the responses in great detail. We have also experienced lecturers having difficulties with Loop when distributing assignments, notes, and grades. The use of Loop is integral to education within DCU, which is why it is important that the redesign improves both functionality and ease of use. The technology expertise of the chosen demographic varies. Certain students will have a better understanding of computers and technology due to studying certain disciplines. For example, students studying computing disciplines may have a better understanding of technology than students studying an arts discipline. However, due to the advancements in technology and the general growth and popularity of technology, most students have a good basis in using different technologies. Therefore, our expected skill level is broad from the students. We will therefore ensure that our redesign will cater for all levels of expertise by ensuring that Loop is easy to access, use, and understand. The level of expertise from lecturers will also vary greatly, with some having very little technical literacy and some users experts in the given field. In terms of adopting the technology, we feel that it will be an easy transition as our redesign of Loop will focus on ease of use. Currently, Loop is accessed on mobile, desktop, and laptop by both students and lecturers. This means that our redesign of Loop must also be available and functional on these devices to suit our demographic. To understand the individual user, we must examine what Loop is mainly used for. It is key that we ensure that the most used features are the features that are easy to use and are accessible for all users of our chosen demographic. In order to entirely understand the user's opinion from both the view of the lecturer and the student, it was important that our requirements gathering methods were exhaustive and clearly laid out the issues with the current design of Loop. The requirements gathering methods allowed us to fully understand our demographic and the needs from the users within this demographic.
The main users of the Loop website and mobile application are the staff and students of Dublin City University. Students will access the website to receive notes and grades, to submit assignments, and to access the various links to the other parts of the DCU website. Once students log in, they are met with a page that contains a list of all their modules, which links to a separate page for that module. This page contains the notes, assignments, the place to submit assignments, quizzes, and grades for that particular module. There is also a calendar which shows upcoming submissions and quizzes with the date that it is due for that module. Students will access the website to receive notes and grades, to submit assignments, and to access the various links to the other parts of the DCU website. Once students log in, they are met with a page that contains a list of all their modules, which links to a separate page for that module. This page contains the notes, assignments, the place to submit assignments, quizzes, and grades for that particular module. There is also a calendar which shows upcoming submissions and quizzes with the date that it is due for that module. Lecturers will use the website to provide notes and grades, to accept assignments, and to give quizzes. Lecturers can also see trends in the results from the students and see their results individually or as a graph. Both the students and the lecturers can also access Loop to use the form that is available if it has been set up by the lecturer. This form can be used as a notice board by the lecturer to inform their students and by students to ask questions that can then be answered by either their fellow students or the lecturer. The website is unclear for many reasons. The main one is that there are too many options and steps to go through to see any of the information that is available. They have to go through at least 3 separate pages to finally see their notes and grades and to add to this confusion, each module page is organized in a different way. There is no commonality between each module page beyond the basic layout. For a student to simply check their grades in a particular module, they must log in, click into the module page, scroll down to the grades section, and click into their grades there. This is far too many steps for such a simple task. This needs to be changed. The most important and common information should be on the first page for ease of access for the student. The users of the Loop website will mostly access it from either college campus or their home. However, it is accessible from anywhere. They access Loop on their mobile devices, desktop computers, and laptops. The website is mostly used during term time with less usage during the summer, especially after the repeat exams are finished. This allows Loop to be changed for the next term, modules to be edited, added, or removed. There are a number of factors that would limit users in their accessing of this website. They will need to have access to the internet, they will need to be a registered student or staff member DCU, and they'll need to know their password and username to log in. For users who are unfamiliar with the layout of Loop, it can be difficult to navigate and understand where to go and how it works in order to complete tasks. All of these contexts will need to be considered when designing our version of Loop.
We used two methods to gather information: questionnaires and informal group discussion. One of the considerations we had was that lecturers are quite busy and it may have been difficult to get together in a group setting. In order to avoid any frustration, we decided to send only questionnaires to lecturers, while for students we sent questionnaires along with conducting group discussions. As with any questionnaire conducted among student peers, there was a small amount of joke responses. In order to combat this, we sent our questionnaire to a large number of students, both in our year and the years above and below. This size data set allowed us to gather more accurate responses. To create our questionnaires, we used Google Forms. This allows us to see our results in a clear, easy manner. The types of questions we asked were both open and closed. We tried to keep the questionnaires concise, as too many questions can discourage people from completing them. We started with vague questions, such as gathering the general satisfaction of the Loop interface and determining usage amounts. In analysing the data, we found a few key areas to focus on when creating our UI. The majority of our respondents, both students and lecturers, are unhappy with the general functionality of Loop. While 2/3 of students prefer that a lecturer uses his or her own site, 2/3 of lecturers prefer to use Loop over their own websites. We also provided an answer box to fill in suggestions on how to best improve the experience on Loop. We created this option in order to catch any problem areas that had been missed. It was in doing this that we found many lecturers would appreciate creating an easier way to edit their information and the necessity to provide a student's view option. This was valuable information, as we do not see the lecturer's view of Loop and therefore could not have foreseen this area as being problematic. Some of the students' most common suggestions were better visibility of due dates, results, and a search function for notes. With the data recovered from the questionnaires, we now know what areas we would like to focus on. For lecturers, it is to streamline the experience entirely. They need to see options to edit and display at all times, along with the ability to update due dates and easily return grades. Where students are concerned, the visibility of their notes, along with efficient alerts with due dates and a strong functioning search tool, are among the most important changes. In all cases, it is our aim to provide a useful, easily accessible interface that allows a user to see the details that are important to them at a glance. For our layout, we will be focusing on delivering something that will be manageable for any user and all levels of ability.
In carrying out this exercise, we have identified a multitude of usability problems and issues with Loop. As previously described, any changes we make need to take into account the variations of computer literacy between the many students and staff who use Loop. By doing this, we can cater to all users and all abilities. Some of the expected problems we have are ensuring GDPR compliance on Loop. For example, Lecturers may see the results of all students, but the student should only have access to his or her own grade. Editing should be available to lecturers, but students will not have access to editing features. Other aspects of functionality are ensuring the ease of access to all users. We need to ensure that Loop remains accessible to those with mobility, sight, or auditory impairments. In order to test this, we will need to select a large base of test users with differing abilities and needs. Our goal is for complete satisfaction from all users, as opposed to the current situation. In order to avoid difficulties navigating Loop, we must consider how it will interact with screen readers, the use of alt tags for identifying images, selection of color and font, and the general layout of each screen in a clear and modern way. The implementation of a search feature will lend itself to the overall improvement of the redesigned Loop. In order to design this search feature, we must take into account what and how it will search for items. For example, the search facility can search by name of document, but ideally the content can also be searched. Depending on the format of the notes, this may be a constraint, and the design of this feature must be carefully thought through. By examining the feedback, it is clear that a few essential items should be visible from the home screen. At the same time, we must ensure that we do not overcrowd the home screen. We will have an emphasis on clarity and modernity. Another constraint to consider is whether notes can be accessed in Loop rather than opening a separate web page. Currently, any files such as a Word, PowerPoint, or PDF must be downloaded to open. We must examine whether it is possible to open these notes in Loop, and would greatly improve the overall functionality. While viewing topics within a module, lecturers will have full control of which features they want to make use of. However, there will be a template that lecturers can follow. This will ensure consistency across all modules and introduce organization and reduce the amount of clicks it takes to access a file. It is in finding these requirements through the collection of data that we have a clear understanding of what the users of Loop need. As a result, our implementation of Loop cannot help but be an improvement on the current version.